Hi, students. Today we are going to continue with our narrative writing, and we are actually going to be writing our narrative today. So I'm super excited, and I think you guys are going to have a really fun time writing your narrative because it has to do with all about you, and it's a very special moment that you have. So it should be fun for you to write about it. So on Friday last week, we all completed this on Seesaw. Okay, now this is mine. And we gave our personal narrative topic. So my topic was going to the movies with John. We talked about what we did first, next, and last. These are just some different, it's just helping us to brainstorm what we are going to write about in the different parts of our paper. So we will have a paragraph as an introduction, which tells the reader what we're going to be writing about. Then we have our first paragraph with the thing that we did first. We have our next paragraph with something that we did next. And then our last paragraph with something that we did through the last part. So we also have a conclusion, which is an ending paragraph. So all together, we have 5 paragraphs in a narrative paper. That might sound like so much, and it is a lot of work, but you do not have to finish it all today. I just want you to try your best and to really listen to what I am saying so that you are able to do this to your best ability. So I already wrote my narrative, and I'm going to show it to you. Now, I love writing. I write a lot. You do not have to write as much as I am, and you also have to remember that I'm almost 27 years old, so I'm a lot older than you, so I have a lot more experiences with writing than you do. So my paper starts here. Okay, so the first thing you always have to do is give your paper a title. Okay, so I am going to underline my title here. Going to the movies with, I just said going to the movies. I didn't say with John. Okay, this is your title. It's extremely important to always give whatever you're writing a title so your reader knows exactly what it is about, okay? Because whenever you read a book, right, there's always a title. I've never read a book without a title, so you always have to give your writing a title. Another really important thing is that you have to capitalize the important words in your title. So as you can see, going and movies, I capitalized in this title. Now, little words like to, the, in, those kind of words do not need to be capitalized in a title, okay? All right, so I'm just going to read my narrative to you, and then I'm going to show you the different parts of a narrative that you are going to be using in your paper as well. Hi! Today I'm going to tell you about the time I went to the movies with my fiance, John. It was so fun. First, we ate dinner at Texas Roadhouse. I ordered a baked potato and roasted chicken. John got a steak with fries. I ate 3 rolls with cinnamon butter, so I was so full by the time we were done. As we left, we saw that it was pouring down rain. We did not have an umbrella, so we got soaking wet as we ran to the car. Next, we got to the theater. I looked like I had just jumped in the pool since I was so wet. The line to get tickets was almost out the door. As John waited in line, I went to get buttery popcorn, Sour Patch Kids, and bottled water for us. John finally got our tickets, and we were off to see the movie. I was so excited. Last, we sat down and watched Onward. It was such a good movie. I was so happy we got to watch it together. As we walked outside, I noticed it was no longer raining. I was so glad I wouldn't have to get wet all over again. As you can see, going to the movies with John is a very special memory that we have together. I hope we can go again someday soon. And that is the end of my paper. Okay, so that is what you are going to be writing. Now, of course, you're going to be writing about your own experiences and your own memory, but this was my memory, and this was the narrative I wrote based on going to the movies with John. So let's talk about the different parts of a paper. We already talked about the title. That's the first thing you do. Sometimes you might not be able to think of a title right away, so that's okay. So if you need to do your title last, then that would be fine. Normally it's the first thing we do, but if you're having a hard time coming up with the title, then you can just do it later. So right here, this paragraph, now the way I know it's a new paragraph is because I have a 2-finger indent. Okay, that's really, really important. So I'm going to actually write that down here. 2-finger indent. Do you see how it's like some spaces here? That's called an indent, okay? The reason we say 2-finger indent is because your 2 fingers should be able to fit right there, okay? Notice how I never write over to this side. We always stay on the right side of this red line here, okay? So I have a 2-finger indent there. Now, hi, today I am going to tell you about the time I went to the movies with my fiance, John. It was so fun. That is called an introduction paragraph. So I am going to just write down here, and I am going to write introduction. I'll just actually write intro for short. In your introduction paragraph, you tell your reader what you're going to be writing about. Notice how I have a greeting, which says hi. You could say hello. You could say whatever you want as a greeting. You can say, I hope your day is going well. Today, I'm going to tell you about the time I went to the movies with my fiance, John. It was so fun. So this is where you tell us what you are writing about. Okay, that's your introductory paragraph. Or like I just said here, your intro paragraph. Your second paragraph is what you did first during your special memory. So as you can see on my planning brainstorming Seesaw activity that we did last week, the first thing that I said I did during this night was began eating dinner at Texas Roadhouse, and it was pouring down rain. So I wrote about eating dinner at Texas Roadhouse. Okay, now I wanted to write lots of details. I did not just want to say I ate at Texas Roadhouse and it was raining, done. Okay, no, that's not how a paragraph is. A paragraph should be longer than one sentence, okay? So a paragraph should be at least 3 sentences long. I would love if you could get maybe up to 5 sentences long, but this is our first body paragraph here. And the reason I know it's a new paragraph is because of my indent. Okay, I have an indent here. I had an indent in my first one. So the introduction, and then we have our first body paragraph. That tells you about the first thing that you did. Okay, the first thing. So the first thing I did was I ate dinner at Texas Roadhouse. I talked about what I ordered. I talked about what John ordered. I talked about how I was like so full by the time I was done. And then I talked about how it was raining and we did not have an umbrella, so I had to just run to my car and get soaking wet. So I talked about lots of different details there. So whatever you put for your first thing that you did, I want you to tell me like some details about it. If you were eating food, what did you eat? If you were hanging out with somebody, who were you with? If you were, whatever you were doing, I want you to give me more details describing that. I should be able to picture it inside my head. Hopefully when you were reading my paper, you were able to picture it inside of your head like you do when you read a book. That's our goal, okay? That's what we want to try to help the reader do, is to picture it. So this next paragraph, that is my body paragraph, number 1, okay? So a body paragraph is like a really it's one of the paragraphs that makes up your paper, okay? So it is body number 1. Okay, so we have our first body paragraph there. So far, we have our introduction paragraph and our body paragraph. So this is the first paragraph. This is the second paragraph. Okay. Next, we have our body paragraph number 2. So that's the next thing we did. So we go back to our brainstorming sheet. And the next thing I did was I got to the theater and the line was so long. We got some snacks and started to watch the movie. So I wrote about that. I said, next we got to the theater. It looked like I had just jumped in the pool. Since I was still wet, the line to get tickets was almost out the door. As John waited in line, I went to go get some buttery popcorn and Sour Patch Kids and a bottled water for us. And then we finally got the tickets and we were off to see the movie. Okay, so that is the second body paragraph that we have. Really, it's our third paragraph in all, but it's our second body one. The body paragraphs are like the really important paragraphs of your paper that make up a lot of details. Okay, picture it like a hamburger. If you have a bun on, like you have the bun on the bottom, then you have the hamburger patty and all the good stuff in between the two buns, right? So if you have the two buns are like your introductory paragraph and your conclusion paragraph. And all the stuff in the middle is like what's actually like the tasty part. And that's kind of how I want you to picture a narrative when you're writing it. So that would be the second body paragraph that I just read to you. Okay, so I'm going to, and the reason I know it's a new paragraph is because of this indent here, this space. It's not very big, but it is an indent, and that's really important. So I'm going to do this, and then I ended it on this page. And that is my body paragraph number 2. Perfect. Now I have the last body paragraph, and the way that what I'm going to talk about, the reason I know what I'm going to say is because of the last thing I have here. So it says the movie ended and I enjoyed the movie a lot. I felt so happy I got to see it with John. So if we go back to my narrative, then I talk about that. I said last we sat down and watched Onward. It was such a good movie. I was so happy we got to watch it together. As we walked outside, I noticed it was no longer raining. I was so glad I wouldn't have to get wet all over again. So that is body paragraph number 3. Okay, that's like the last thing that you did in your special memory. So body number 3. There's only 3 body paragraphs, and now this end paragraph here is not as long, okay? It's not a body paragraph, it's called the conclusion. It just kind of wraps everything up together, and it's kind of like the ending paragraph, okay? So it says, as you can see, going to the movies with John is a very special memory we have together. I hope we can go again someday soon. So that is my conclusion. Okay, and a conclusion, it does not have to be very long. It does need to have an indent though, and so does it. So does this right here, right? We have indent, indent. A conclusion. When you are writing your conclusion, you can just kind of say, let's say your special memory was going to the pool with your parents. You can say, as you can see, going to the pool with my parents was a super fun summer day that we had. I cannot wait to go again next summer. It just has to be really simple. You don't have to write that much in a conclusion. But that is like the last paragraph of your paper. Now, if you're like, Miss Johnson, I cannot remember everything you just said, then that's okay. I will take pictures of my narrative for you, and I will put it on our Seesaw so that you can look at it as you're writing for an example. So again, we have our first paragraph, which is our introduction. We have our second paragraph, which is our body paragraph number 1, which is all of this green, okay? We have our third paragraph here, which is our second body paragraph. Then we have our fourth paragraph here, which is our third body paragraph. Remember, the body paragraphs are like the hamburger and the tomatoes, ketchup, onion, all the tasty stuff inside the two buns. Or it's like an Oreo. Your body paragraph is like the filling of an Oreo. That's the best part, right? So then your last paragraph, your number 5, would be your conclusion. So altogether, you have 5 paragraphs in this narrative. Your body paragraphs will be the longest paragraphs you have. Okay? So here it is all together. Probably can't see it. Now, you do not have to go 2 pages long like I did. I just love writing, and I've already told you guys that. So I have a tendency to write a lot, and if you are like me and you want to write a lot too, then I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. Now, if you are struggling, then I need you to look at my paper for some ideas and to kind of remember how I planned out my paper. And another thing you can do if you're struggling is to look back at your planning sheet here on Seesaw. You can also go back to your small moment activities that we did on Seesaw, because those all have details to help you as well. The reason that we did this and our small moment and everything in our writing journal so far was to help us do this narrative, okay? Like I said, you do not have to finish today. You'll get a couple days to do it. I just want you to start today. If you finish it all today and you have time, then that's awesome. But if you don't, that's okay too. You'll be able to complete it tomorrow and keep working on it tomorrow. When you are done with your entire narrative, you are going to send a picture to me on Seesaw, and there's going to be a Seesaw assignment that's labeled personal narrative, okay? And you are going to upload a picture of it to that activity. Don't do that until you're all done with it though, okay? So I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. I am so excited. I love seeing your writing, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.